Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a Screenwriter's Rant on a new video game called the Callisto Protocol. This is a Red Band trailer and it's pretty effing awesome. Now this says it's not coming out till 2022. Looks a bit high end, but it's space horror and from Striking Distance Studios. But I like the premise. Starts out in looks like a space prison. You can see the two prisoners on the right side of the screen, and something's moving outside in the hall outside the cell, and one of the prisoners hears it. He eventually gets up. See, he sees it, and then he gets up, and he has this funky thing on the back of his neck. It's probably his prisoner thing, whatever that does. And then a hologram starts to tell him something's wrong. All the people have to report, and you can see in the background already something's up with his bunkmate. Right, his arm's not quite right. So he tries to hear the hologram, but it's all messed up. And outside in the hall, something lurks, and he's a little antsy. Right, he gets up, he starts to walk over there, and he taps on the bunk and says, "Get up, man, get up." And he gets over there, and he looks out, and he sees that, I guess this is like a guard robot, and it's malfunctioning. Nobody's quite sure why. He's not sure why. He can't get out of the cell. He says something, and look at his graphics. I mean, this looks like an actor. In fact, he looks a little familiar. I wonder who they modeled him after. He reminds me of that guy. Oh, man. He was in a TV show that took place in the future, and I think he played the android. And he was a cop. You know which one I'm talking about? I can't think of the name of the show. It was a pretty good, decent show. So you can see this thing on his neck, and, he hears something behind him, and like the guy gets off the bunk and the shadow behind him starts to mutate. I don't know if I can stop it on the exact scene. Let's see. I got the sound off, so let's see if I can. Yeah, see right here he jumps off the bunk, and then you see him mutate behind him and make a noise, and he's talking to him. He doesn't see the transformation. It's really creepy. And then he starts to see it, and as you can see, that's not a human shape, right? And then the guy comes up to him, and he's like, no. He's trapped in the cell with him. He can't get out. He's all mutated. And then he's like, please, please, no. And then, boom, like all these tentacles and disgusting things shoot out and into his mouth. And all on his face, and it's like consuming him. But the worst is it goes in his eyeballs. Oh, that's brutal. That is just brutal. And then cuts to, I guess, the wardens, somebody in charge. And he seems awfully, quiet as he watches, the prisoner get eaten alive, I guess, or transformed. And then he watches a ship arrive. And you could see it's it's some sort of space colony or space prison, whatever you want to call it. There's debris on the ground, looks like other ships. There's two moons in the sky, and it's called the Callisto Protocol, which probably means you got to isolate. And then it cuts back to the cell, and you could see the guy's all messed up now. The aliens turned him into this whatever it is. It's like some kind of infected zombie, and then he roars at the camera. Pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. I would play this game. Absolutely. Coming 2022, though. It's a bit far out in the future, but I like the premise a lot because it reminds me of, oh, crap. What the hell's the name of that game? The horror game in space. What the hell is it called? I can't think of it. They made a couple of sequels to it, at least. And, it was kind of like The Thing, but it was in space, and you kept upgrading your weapons. This is a bit different, though, because you start out as a prisoner. And that to me is cooler because it's just like putting more onus on your protagonist. If you start out as a prisoner. I assume you start out as a prisoner. You wake up in your cell and the cell malfunctions and you gotta, creep around and try to get around all these monsters and find your way out. Possibly you're here for a crime you didn't commit, that kind of classic setting. But on top of the fact there's some sort of alien infection or whatever you want to call it, and you got to fight the animated bodies of the other prisoners, and I'm sure at some point you get guns, futuristic guns. You probably got to fight the robots at some point. There's a lot of possibilities here, a lot of possibilities, and with the odds stacked against you like this, it's just going to be a great game, I think. A great game. I like it. It's a little dark, but man, the movie of that monster consuming that guy, scary stuff. 4K Ultra HD. Look great. Sign me up for this. The Callisto Protocol. Coming in 2 years. Hope you can wait.